having a leader that comes out and says they're going to destroy their own central bank and get rid of it, that could be the first domino in a lot of dominoes. Typically, it will go down around the end of the month, whether it's coincidence or manipulation. It happens more times than not. And one of the biggest things I've noticed that in the last couple of months, the large purchases have really...
Silver and gold prices have definitely been moving up over the last couple of weeks. In fact, as I record this video, we have gold at over $2,000 an ounce. We have silver approaching $25. Now, I would love to know how that is, and I'm sure you would as well, would love to know how that is affecting sales and selling at local coin shops. So today, we are going to be joined by Josh from Minot Coin and Bullion to find out how it's going in his store with the moving spot prices. Of course, we're going to talk about so much more, so make sure you stick with us for this awesome video. Before we get there, do me a favor, make sure you are still subscribed. I've actually had comments from people telling me that they have been unsubscribed from my channel. I don't know why, but make sure you still are so you don't miss out on future videos. And don't forget to hit that like button to help YouTube recommend this video to others. Also, be sure to check out some of the awesome Cyber Week deals over at our sponsor, SD Bullion, including a free Silver Eagle with a purchase of a tube of Britannia's, 1 ounce gold Krugerrands for just $39.99 over spot, and more. There will be a link down below. Go check them out while you can. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. Thanks for having me on again today.
Always a pleasure. This week, Josh, as you know, as well as last week, we have seen silver and gold start to move back up. As we record this video, at the time I'm recording, I should say, I'm looking at spot price at $20.13 for gold, silver at $24.80, and I think that's actually a bit down from where it was earlier this morning. What's going on with silver and gold prices? They're going back up. Is this going to continue? We'll look forward to it, or is it just a little blip and it's going to go back down soon? What do you think? I know I'm not asking you to predict, but what do you think?
Well, frankly, I think both will happen. I think it will continue to go up, but there's definitely going to be pullbacks. Some of the pullbacks could end up lower than some prices we're seeing today. Reason, in my opinion, I guess the easy answers on why this is happening, that metals have gone up. And just for perspective, you and I, we're getting pretty frequent. I think we talk, once every couple of weeks or so. But in early October, we had spoke, and we pointed out that silver was around $21 an ounce. This was the first few days of October. And gold was around $1,820 an ounce in that same time frame. I'm pretty sure it was October 2nd through 6th, right in there.
Yeah.
Well, since then, flash forward about 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, silver's up 17%. Gold is up 10.5% as we're talking right now. Those are pretty impressive gains, in my opinion. I think if anybody could make that high of a return on their investment in such a short time, they'd be pretty happy. Why that's happening? There's a lot of stock answers. There's always a lot of underlying reasons, and it's hard to pinpoint how each of those reasons influences it. But the most basic ones are the U.S. dollar index. We've touched on that in your videos before. It was hovering around 106 to 107. Which shows strength for the U.S. dollar as compared to 6 other global highly traded currencies. Today, it sits at 103. So that drop from 106 or 107 to 103 signals it takes more dollars to purchase metal. So metal priced in dollars inevitably will go up. Obviously, global conflicts that are going on right now plays into it. War, is an uncertainty, and metals tend to react in times of uncertainty. And one thing that maybe isn't getting a lot of talking points on these type of channels that I've noticed anyway are the geopolitical reasons. And I know a lot of people like to keep politics off their channel. I'm one of them. I know Silver Seeker, you're one of them as well. But we can't deny the fact that the election in Argentina of Javier Milei, who has promised and doubled down on it that he is going to dismantle the central bank of Argentina once he gets sworn in. That's a big news. Argentina, I wouldn't call them a global superpower, but they're a developed country. They're on the world stage. Having a leader that comes out and says they're going to destroy their own central bank and get rid of it, that could be the first domino in a lot of dominoes. So, and then the country of the Netherlands also elected a new populist leader, which, people call it the Trump of the Netherlands. I don't know if that's necessarily entirely true, but there are countries that are electing leaders and are kind of, how can I put it? I guess they're, pushing back at the liberal ideologies. So I think that is having effect on metals as well. And then we talked a couple of weeks ago, increased forecasted demand by the Silver Institute in the next 10 years. Silver demand, they're forecasting up 50%. So there's a lot of factors at play. Do I think the uptick is going to continue? Well, it certainly could, but I'll throw this out there. We're nearing the end of the month. Not always, but a lot of times near the end of the month, silver gets manipulated down in order to fulfill contracts for physical ounces. So these big banks can buy the ounces cheaper. So we'll see. I mean, it's the 27th of November today.
Right.
By November 30th, I wouldn't be surprised if silver's a little lower than it is when we're talking right now. But I think in between there, it could go higher. But I truly believe there'll be a pullback around the end of the week.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I am. I mean, I think regardless of all the geopolitical issues and the dollar index and everything else that, like you just said, you had brought up, silver being manipulated at the end. And while I don't have a way to prove that there is manipulation there, it certainly does seem, as you said, that at the end of the month, there always seems to be a pullback. And I guess not always, but more often than not, I would bet that if you went back and looked at charts going back a few years and looked at every month, it would be more pullbacks at the end than staying the same or going up. I don't know. Is that right, or am I just full of it?
Well, I agree with what you said. I don't have concrete evidence. I can tell you the months it happened and the months it didn't sitting in front of me, but that's just been my experience as an observer, in the business, having to pay attention to the spot price every day, because that's what I base my buys and sells off of. So, I mean, I'm always in tune to where spot's at. And typically it will typically it will go down around the end of the month, whether it's coincidence or manipulation. It happens more times than not.
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at. So regardless, we are seeing that move up, seeing silver, approaching 25, gold over 2,000 once again. How has that been affecting, how have your customers been reacting to that, I should say? Are they buying more? Are they wanting to sell? What's going on there?
Well, last week was a bit of an interesting week, only in the sense that it was Thanksgiving week and my shop was only open for 3 days. So I had, average business those first 3 days of the week, Monday through Wednesday. And during that time, granted, gold and silver weren't quite as high as they are now, but they were on the up move. People were still buying. Flash forward to this past weekend, I was set up at a gun show in Minot here. Mm-hmm. And typically gun shows are much better sales-wise for me than setting up at a coin show. This was the first one where I could say that wasn't the case. So I think a big part of it was the higher gold and silver prices, which kind of made some people hesitate maybe to add to their stack because they were hoping for that pullback. Mm-hmm. Obviously timing. Where we're at in the year, a lot of people are thinking about spending money on others and giving people gifts for the holidays rather than, adding to their own stack. So they're a little more cautious on how they spend their cash. And then economics, obviously. So, I'm actually seeing a little bit of a slowdown in metal purchasing. Okay.
And do you think that's mainly because of the holidays also, or are there other issues?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a factor. It's the holidays and it's economics. There are a lot of people that are still struggling. That definitely plays into it.
Yeah, for sure. So when people are coming in at your shop, and I want to talk about the gun show in a second as well, so we'll get to that. But when people are coming in at your shop right now, let's talk about, Monday through Wednesday of last week. And you said they're still buying, right? But are there people also selling? And what's your 50-50 there? Is it like 40-60, 30-10, or 30-70? What's going on there?
I would say, probably at least a 2/3 majority are purchasing versus selling.
Okay.
I get, on an average day, 3 to maybe 10 people selling to me. And it can be anything. It could be they come in with 2 buffalo nickels that they found, or It could be somebody pulls in a dolly full of silver, It is in everything in between. So, but yes, still there's more buyers than sellers, and more people buying from me than selling to me. And one of the biggest things I've noticed that in the last couple of months, the large purchases have really slowed down. There's not a lot of people that are investing, 5 figures, 6 figures in one purchase on metal in my shop, where, there was a 6-month period, March through, probably September, October, where that was, not a daily occurrence, but a couple of weeks where that was happening. So the big money buyers, I think, have slowed down, and part of it is because spot is up.
Oh, okay.
So I truly think they're paying attention.
I guess that makes sense. The people that were buying big when spot was lower, are they selling, or are they just holding on to see what happens?
Not to me. I don't think they're selling. I think a lot of those people are they're in a buy and hold pattern, which I think is the right way to go. Having said that, you're going to talk about the gun show in a bit. I did have one of my customers sell 500 ounces to me at the gun show. So there definitely are some people that are deciding to move and maybe take some gains now that the spot is up. And this individual did. Granted, they were financing a vacation that was coming up to have some extra fun money, but there's definitely opportunity if you bought back in October, probably to sell today and turn somewhat of a profit. But I think a lot of people are holding, hoping for more.
I like that you said the guy sold for fun money. That's a lot of fun money for a vacation. I don't know.
Well, it is. It's technically it's for 2 trips.
Okay.
2 different trips, he told me. So.
All right. I guess that makes it a little bit more reasonable, but well, that'd be a lot of fun. But I would admit, I think if I sold 500 ounces of silver with the intent just to go out and blow it on vacations, I would enjoy myself for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't enjoy myself, but man, would I feel seller's remorse, if you will, when all was done. You know what I mean? So yeah. I would be missing that silver. So let's talk about the gun show a little bit. I did watch you. It streamed live both days. I know YouTube gave you a yellow or red, thumbs up on it, saying that it's yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, they gave me a yellow dollar sign.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that before. So, well, that's unusual. So I clicked on it, and essentially there was a stock written statement saying that upon review of my live stream, they determined that it's I got to remember the wording, that it's going to be either limited or have no ad revenue because the content of the video would not be attractive to most advertisers, essentially. So, yeah. And for those of you who didn't see it, I just, we had a gun show in Minot. It's a large convention center out at our fairgrounds. And yeah, a lot of people were selling shotguns and handguns, and there were swords and knives and furs and coins and bullion and all sorts of things. And I just walked around and talked. That's all I did. I'm not sure what was offensive about that, but maybe they don't like seeing guns and ammo and those type of things. One of the commenters commented there was some Nazi memorabilia that was in the shot because, they had, different war displays and things like that. So if that's the case and that's why it got, censored, I guess, I don't know. I guess YouTube doesn't like history. It's not like it was a pro-Nazi video that I put out, but I found it unusual, but then again, it is what it is. So, not much I can do about it, I guess. I haven't
seen. For some reason, I was thinking it was like a thumbs up or something when I said, at the beginning. But I have actually seen that yellow dollar symbol. I saw that on my channel a few years ago. I did a video, and what's crazy about this video is I even had made it unlisted. Like my intent was to not publish it to the channel, but I had linked to it, to people that were asking about them, and so I have this collection of adult themed silver rounds and bars, and I'm not going to put those on the YouTube channel for sure, but people were asking about them in our Discord server, so I just did a little video showing them, and I uploaded it unlisted, and then I just linked it to the people that were asking about it, and sure enough, I got that yellow. They did not like that either, which I get, but still, it was I hadn't seen that in a long time, but I do remember. Yeah, that's crazy.
So I guess I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I guess some content they don't like. Maybe they'll demonetize this one just for having, talking about the gun show in it. I don't know.
If they do, I deeply apologize.
Oh, that's
sorry.
No, you're good. So speaking of, I watched it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch the entire thing. I've just been, busy, family and everything. But I did watch some of your stream, and I saw you had walked up to one guy's table, and he had a big silver coin that he was trying to sell, and you had told him that it was fake, and you had tested it the last time you were at that show. Was he still trying to sell that as a full pure silver coin, or what's going on there?
No, he wasn't trying to misrepresent it. I think, quite frankly, he forgot that I had tested it for him, and he didn't even have prices on it. So it's kind of like, well, what do you want to pay me? And actually, in the live stream I did last year, he said, well, I have this silver coin. And I said, well, I can test it for you. I didn't test it on the live stream, but I had my Sigma out there, and it did not test sterling or 90% or pure. My best guess, if it had any silver, it was plated. I think a year passed, and he didn't remember.
Yeah.
Remember that. But like I said, he didn't have a price on it, so it's not like he was asking, $400 and claiming it was silver. But it was a good thing that I was able to jog his memory on that, and I'm sure it'll be at the next gun show as well.
Yeah, for sure.
For sale.
So you said you set up at the gun show, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So we already heard about someone selling you 500 ounces of silver. Were there more sellers? And then also, how were I know you said sales were down this time from, last time you were at the gun show. You said typically gun shows are your best places to sell on shows, but I know you said they were down, but how down were they? I mean, how was it overall?
Well, compared to the same show, it's a semi-annual, so there was one in March also. Oh. Compared to the March gun show, I was probably down 60% in sales. So
that makes sense
pretty
because
substantial.
That makes sense though, because March was March. March, April, May of this year were kind of when everyone was. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's a part of it. But quite frankly, attendance was down a little bit at the gun show too. Just talking with the gentleman that runs it. So, granted, there's a lot of. It was the last day of deer gun hunting season in North Dakota, so a lot of that clientele was out trying to fill their tags if they hadn't already. So it was, timing maybe wasn't the best for the show, but it's always Thanksgiving weekend. And to get back to your question, yeah, I did have some other sellers, but one person sold me a Mint State 63 NGC certified $20 gold Liberty Head gold, which was a nice piece. And I had some people sell me some junk silver. I had some people, or 90% I should say, silver. Some people don't like the word junk, myself included, but I find myself calling it that sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I also had somebody sell me some silver Krugerrands. So there definitely were some sellers at the show as well that probably came out with the intent to find me and to sell to me. One of them was prearranged with those 500 ounces. It was 5 100-ounce Engelhard bars. So it was a nice pickup, but yeah, so there's definitely traffic both ways out there, buying and selling, similar to what I see in the shop, quite frankly, as far as a percentage basis.
Right. So if you don't mind me prying, and if you don't want this question answered, that's fine too, but what were you paying for the 90%, and what did you pay for those bars? Like over spot or back of spot or spot, whatever, we're just curious.
Yeah, I paid 18.3 times face for the 90%. I was charging $19.5 at the show. The Krugerrands, I paid $26.50, which was about $2 over spot. And then the 100-ounce Engelhard bars, I paid 50 cents over spot, which was $2,492 per bar. And we actually did that transaction on my live stream. So full transparency there. It was prearranged. I had all the cash ready in my pocket, and you can watch it right on there that I handed right to him. But yeah, everybody was happy with the prices. I'm paying over spot. Some, maybe I'm paying a little too aggressively sometimes, but
yeah, I would say 50 cents over. Granted, they're Engelhard and not just, random bars, but I'd say 50 cents over for a 100-ounce bar is pretty good right now. If you're wanting to sell.
Yeah, it is.
Because I was looking at some wholesale. I was looking at some wholesale sheets, and we can kind of touch on this, but I know Upstate, I think right now for 1 ounce rounds, you can buy them from them for 95 cents. So, and that's for 1 ounce, retail sellable rounds. So, I think you paid pretty strong for the bar, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, strong enough so he would sell them,
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll tell you straight out, I base my number based on what I can buy those for in my wholesale dealer group that I'm in on the Facebook platform. I had a gentleman, actually, I think I bought some for 45 cents early this last week, but there's several people out there selling them Engelhard 100-ouncers for 50 cents over spot. So that's what I offered him. I said, look, that's what I can pay wholesale. And he was happy with that. Like I said, he made some profit, and he's going to use that cash for 2 family vacations coming up. So it all worked out. I think it's a win-win, unless I get stuck with them and sell them at a loss at some point, which you could. You never know.
You definitely could.
But then I'll just replace them at that point.
Yeah,
at cheaper costs. So.
And that's that's something I think a lot of people don't understand. I get people who leave comments about oh well they can't sell it for this, or you expect a coin shop to do this or whatever. I'm like, well, you don't really understand the market. So and I think we've probably touched on this before, but it's been a while. But so in a market where if you have to sell those bars at a loss, as long as you then go out and replace them for less than you still sold them for, you still have the same amount of silver and then the difference anyway, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's really how you got to look at it. I'd lose sleep every night if I worried about what I paid for things and what I sold them for. It's always about replacement cost.
Exactly. So yeah, if silver drops to 15, you're still not going to lose until such a time that you decide to just sell your entire stack and then not replace it. At that point, that's when you would have to worry about taking that major loss, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think as not only a dealer but a stacker, you're probably not too worried about that.
No, I don't. I don't intend on stopping. So both personally and professionally. So it's not something I harp on and worry about, I guess. But I do get that question a lot. Where people will ask, gosh, silver's down $3, and I know you paid more for that than what you're selling it to me for. How can you do that? Why don't you just lock the door? It's like, well, can't get any income if you lock the door and don't sell it. Yeah, you sell this one at a loss, but you replace it for even cheaper.
Yeah,
rinse and repeat.
It's funny. This was more last year than anything really this year, but I got a lot of comments from people when I don't remember if silver had went down or whatever had happened. But they said that they specifically had dealers who said that they were out of silver, even though they knew they weren't. Because they just didn't want to sell it because they had too much in it. And I don't know, you tell me, but that just doesn't seem like at all. And you just kind of basically said this, but it really doesn't seem like at all you could be in business with a product where you literally have to not sell it because you're worried about, spot price going down. As long as you keep replacing it, like at the time, there was definitely silver available. I don't remember specifically when, but I do remember looking, and there was silver available. So why couldn't they just order and replace it rather than lock the door and not sell it? Doesn't make any sense.
They definitely could have. I mean, I think that, I already kind of touched on it from the customer's vantage point. There's that mental stumbling block of, God, I paid this much for it, and I can only sell it for this, and I'm going to lose money. And some dealers have that mindset. They're more worried about what the cost was rather than what the cost is going to be to replace it. And I've said that several times, in my own videos too.
Yeah.
You can't think that way. I mean, you really have to think and worry about replacement cost, because if you're dealing in precious metal, the price, and not just the spot price, but the landed cost, because premiums fluctuate pretty wildly too, especially the last few years. You can't worry about that because it's so volatile. You just really need to be in tune with what you can replace it for today. And that's how you got to base your price on what you're selling it for. And I'm not telling other dealers how to do their own business, but that's how I've always done it. That's how basically any other dealer that I do business with has done it. And it makes it real easy. You don't have such an emotional attachment and hurdle to clear because, oh gosh, I paid, $2,200 for this piece of gold, but I can only sell it today for $2,100. Well, sure, but now you can replace it for $2,000. So
yeah,
it works out. I mean, as long as you're moving inventory, you're cycling through inventory, it's not a problem you should ever worry about with what you paid for it. It's what you can buy it again for is what you have to do.
Yeah. It's funny. We'll bring up one more thing and then we'll go ahead and cut this off here. But, I go to a lot of like smaller local coin shows. I also like to do a lot of the big ones. So, I'll go to Tulsa and I'll go to the big ones in St. Louis and so on and so forth. But I also like to go to some small local shows and just kind of walk around. And one thing I noticed over the years is that you have some of these old local dealers that have the same coins every single year. And every single year they're still overpriced, just like they were last year. And you would think that they would do better by just selling those, even if they have to sell them cheaper, just selling those and then using that money to get new inventory of something that someone is actually looking for so they could actually make money on it. I mean, it just seems like dead money at that point if it's something you want to sell but you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think any dealer would say that they could identify their own, quote unquote dead inventory that's just going to sit. I, for one, I mean, let's say I buy an estate, and it has key date coins, and I've had many instances of this. I purchased an 1856 Flying Eagle cent from an individual. Actually, before I purchased it, we sent it in to be certified. And for those of you who don't know, an 1856 Flying Eagle U.S. cent is extremely rare. And I had never seen one before. I'd never held one in my hand, and I could not authenticate it. So I said, tell you what, we'll send this in. If it comes back authentic, now you have something marketable, and it's something I'd happy to make an offer on, and we can make a deal. So there were only 2,000 minted. So think about that, 2,000, and one walks into my shop in Minot, North Dakota. What are the odds?
Aren't they?
Long story short, it was.
Aren't they? I was just gonna say, aren't the 1856s all considered pattern coins?
I don't know that. That's a good question.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. And like I said, I didn't have a lot of underlying knowledge because it's just not something I ever see.
Right. All right. Anyway, continue your story. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem at all. But yeah, long story short, it came back authentic. Well, now we're sitting here, and I forget without looking back at my records from a year ago, but we're looking at like a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 coin in front of me here. So I make him a fair offer, and he takes it. Well, now what am I going to do with it? Am I going to have somebody walking in Minot, North Dakota? Yeah, I need an 1856 Flying Eagle cent. Well, odds are slim to none. So whenever I get key date coins, I buy them with the intent that I'm going to have to wholesale them to flip them. Turn and burn is what we call it. You turn it over, sell it, and you buy new inventory that's sellable in your shop. So right away, I posted it in my wholesale dealer group through Facebook, got multiple offers on it, and sold it that way. Made a couple $100, and reinvested that cash into bullion because that's what sells in my shop. So yeah, if more dealers would do that, and but not everybody has the ability and the reach to move slow moving inventory either. So that's part of the problem, and that's maybe why some, you said the old coin dealer who maybe doesn't do the internet, and he has the same coins year over year over year. I feel bad for him because he doesn't have the means to have that network of other people that might be interested in this stuff from a dealer standpoint.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes sense, but still, it's just, you would think that maybe they would just discount it to get rid of it too, even if they don't have those connections. But I don't know. Know, I'm not them. I don't know their situation, so maybe maybe they just don't care, and they're gonna drive home in their Lambo and be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I don't know.
It could be.
Well, Josh, listen, guys, before we get Josh off here, I want to say two things. One, I'm going to link that video you had streamed. I'm going to link that stream. Which one was it? Was it the Friday or the Saturday one at the
day one?
Day one
is day one is the one that got censored, I guess, by the YouTube overlords. So.
Okay, well, that's the one where you bought the 500 ounces on camera.
Yes.
All right, cool. I'm going to link that down below. I'm going to link that down below if you guys want to see it. And you should subscribe to Josh while you're watching it, by the way, because he has a great channel. And then secondly, you had said at the beginning of this interview here, or call, I mean, it's more of a chat when we talk. I wouldn't call these interviews. But anyway, you had said at the beginning that we are getting more frequent. And you're right. I've been trying to get you on the channel every 2 weeks. However, for you guys that are still watching this far in, first, do me a favor and leave a comment down below and let me know you're still watching, because a lot of people did that last time. Remember when I said, wow, this has been so long? I wonder if anyone's watching. You would not believe how many people commented and said, I'm still watching. So thank you guys, each and every one of you, for watching. Leave that comment again. And secondly, this Friday, if you guys don't know, I do talking hands videos where I don't get in front of the camera. I just play with some silver or gold in front of the camera while I do a much more, what we will say, relaxed type of video where I'm just kind of chatting, what's on my mind. I'm going to have Josh as a guest on that video, so he'll be on twice this week. But unlike this video, that video won't be all Josh, but we will have him on as a segment. So make sure you subscribe, and make sure you catch Friday's video as well. If you aren't subscribed yet, make sure you catch Friday video as well, because we'll have Josh on there as a segment of that of the Talking Hands podcast this Friday. Josh, is there anything else you wanted to bring up before we go? That was kind of a mouthful there for me.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, well, I appreciate, like always, you having me on, and I I hope the public can stomach hearing my voice twice in 1 week. I guess we'll find out.
Well, just so you guys know, we are going to be talking about, so you don't forget to catch that video, we're going to be talking about a guy who may have to sell at an inopportune time, $750,000 worth of gold. So we're going to talk about that on that podcast. So again, check it out. Josh, thanks for joining me. Guys, leave a comment down below and make sure you subscribe to Josh, and we will have him on again. Thanks again, Josh.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. See you next time. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Josh. And like I just said, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on Friday's Talking Hands, where we'll have Josh on once again with that great story. Also, don't forget to check out this video right here if you haven't seen it yet. And other than that, just thank you so much for being here, and we will see you in the very next video. Have a great rest of your day.